representing the USA, Melissa Gregory Tanith Petrukov.
So in the first group, it's USA, then Ukraine, then Israel, then Russia, then Lithuania. We start with Melissa Gregory and Denis Petrukov for the States, fourth in the Four Continents Championships. Mentioned that Shailin was going into shows. She's also very involved with these two, joint coach with Nikolai Morozov.
One thing that really does sort out the men from the boys in this dance is the speed across the ice. You really have to get down into the knees as much as possible to get the right slow, rhythmic, relaxed and easygoing expression for this dance. Just doing a good job. Two sequences. 1 minute 38 seconds.
Well, it's interesting, the Americans have featured really well in almost every discipline in figure skating, except ice dance. They've never really had world contenders, and that continues today. These two runners-up in American National Championships. But looking down on the list of winners, it's a long, long time since they've had anything remotely looking like championship contenders.
Well, I think there's a little bit of excitement in the American camp about Tanith Belbin and Benjamin Augusto, who really have improved an awful lot this season and won the Four Continents, and they'll be first to go in the next group. But these two have done well. It is a difficult dance to get speed on, and for those of you that have never really skated seriously, it's, on the skates you've got little toe picks at the front of the skate, and those must not be used for getting any speed in ice dance or in any form of figure skating. And you've really got to get down in the knees and use your edges, really make the skates work.
Nikolai Morozov and Shailin Bourne watching these two come off.
The referee asks the judges for their marks, establishes the median mark, and
interesting that Denis Petrukov, when his partnership with Oksana Brodikova finished in the year 2000, he looked on the internet for a new partner, and that's how he found Melissa Gregory. And he moved to the USA in September of 2000, and they got married in February 2001, so there's a partnership on and off the ice.
It really is incredible how many of the teams are changing partnerships. There's a lot of swapping and changing to get the right combination.
Chris is momentarily dumbfounded because they're wearing his skates.
Well, she is. which is good to see.
And there you are in close-up. And the only other top contender is Michael Weiss.
Yeah, Michael Weiss is skating on the Freedom Blade, and looking forward to that. He didn't have a great time in his qualification, but hopefully he'll do better tonight in the short program.
So 10 judges have been chosen here, and 7 will count. Be a random choice from the computer, a secret choice. So 7 of the 10 judges who have been chosen to judge here. A separate panel for the A group who are to go in an hour and a half.
The marks, please, for timing and expression. The range of marks is between
2 sets of marks for technique and then timing and expression, which is basically the old artistic expression mark. So mid-4s for these 2, and you'd sense they'll be kind of mid-table. They should qualify. Well, all of them will go through to the original dance, and these 2 will definitely qualify for the 3.
CHAIT, SAKHNOVSKI.
The Israeli flag very much in prominence here. And here are the Israeli champions, well, for the last 6 years. CHAIT and SAKHNOVSKI. Former bronze medalists in the Worlds in Nagano, 6th last year in Washington.
Probably not the best choice of compulsory dance for these 2. Traditionally their forte is quick footwork, but the lines are good and they're skating this very strongly.
CHAIT and SAKHNOVSKI. So much character to burn, these 2, and as I sense it wasn't particularly a dance that they could really let rip on. First skaters from Israel to medal at World Championships when they got the bronze 2 years ago in Nagano. But they took a big dip last year. The question is, can they recover? Remember, bronze in 2002, but only 6th last year in Washington. It was a move that hurt.
Certainly did, and I just think that looked to me like it was a bit of a struggle. He really did find that difficult to get the speed effortlessly. Isabelle.
Nearly easy for you to say.
Yeah.
but not quite.
Not quite, no. Got the wrong teeth in. I think I've got yours in, actually.
Incidentally, if you want to email us, and thanks for all the emails yesterday, we were knocked out by them. It's Eurosport.com. Just click on to skating there, and Chris and I will read your emails if they're provocative, interesting, or funny. We'll certainly read them out.
Well, over this week, there's been a little bit of concern over the quality of the ice in the main arena here. And this afternoon, you get glimpses on your TV screen every now and then in the corners where the light reflects across the ice. And you can see that it's not as smooth as the skaters would like. And in the ice dance in particular, they need that smooth surface to get really, really strong edges. Familiar picture there of Tatiana Tarasova, just willing her skaters to perform well.
Yes, they've been through a plethora of coaches, these two, but now back with Tarasova, who, well, first came to prominence as a coach back in the very early 80s with Bestiminova and Bukin. And since then has really branched out and was very largely responsible for Alexei Yagodin winning his individual men's gold medal at the Olympics. And there she is. A bundle of brilliance, energy, and showmanship.
And a real diplomat. She works hard with her skaters on and off the ice, which is important in ice dance. Got to sell the team to everybody, and she does that well.
Is that what let you down, diplomacy?
Yeah, absolutely. It was all right till I met you.
You'll never learn. 4.6 up to 5.4. Evgeny. We'll be hearing from him later on. He's quite a character. Evgeny Platov. The rest, of course, with Oksana Gritsuk. First place, no surprise there for Chait and SAKHNOVSKI.
Representing Russia.
Next up are the Russians, not the leading Russians. They are still to come in about an hour and a half. Runners up in Russian nationals, Oksana Domnina, Maxim Shabelin, 15th last year in Washington. Oksana Domnina, Maxim Shabalin.
Oksana Domnina, Maxim Shabalin.
Relatively new couple, been going as a couple here for around a couple of years. Before that, they both competed with different partners at international junior level, but have made the switch. And of course, any couple in ice dance representing Russia has to be taken notice of. Perhaps not here for this year, but for the future.
Yes, they really are being groomed as stars of the future, the junior world champions from last year. So they moved into the senior ranks last season and look more comfortable, more at home this season in the World Championships. I thought watching their compulsory dance there that the first half of the sequence looked a little bit uncomfortable, certainly from Maxim. Just looked as though it wasn't as smooth as the second half. Sometimes the lines not absolutely matching.
And certainly thanks for all the emails that are flooding in again. One from Margaret, which is a bit cheeky. Guys, can you tell us your age? Hard to tell from the voices. Both sound young to me. Well, you're dead right, Margaret. I'm 28 and Chris is 25. The other thing you ought to know is I'm a born liar.
Well, I was 25 once, a long time ago. Really good slow motion shots, and giving you a good idea of how the skaters really use the edges. You'll see that the back of the boot of the lady is cut right back so as she can get the extension and point the toe. Not so much support in the boot that the free skaters have.
Seventh in Budapest, these two, so anything like a top 10 place they will take. Grab with both hands. So the technical mark, what a difference to the judges. Remember, 3 of those will disappear. We don't know which of the 3 will disappear, and nor do they, nor even do the judges. And for timing and expression, just a little better. So second in all, behind the leaders at the moment, CHAIT and SAKHNOVSKI, who presumably will lead for some time until we sense WINKLER and LOHSE take to the rink. They may well overtake them. They're in the next group. Now from Lithuania, Lithuanian champions, 28th in the world's last year, 22nd in Budapest, Klova Zatsman, Oremas Radizauskas. Another couple coached by Alexander Zulin, as are the favourites, his wife Tatiana NAVKA and Roman KOSTOMAROV. Isabelle DELOBEL, who with Olivier Schoenfelder will go later on for France. We'll be talking to them later.
Straight away with this couple, you can see that they don't have the speed across the ice at all, and he's really struggling. Yes, a couple still really emerging.
And in this company, it showed. Just a few raw edges, not the real finished article that you'll see from Zulin's other charges later on.
These two have had a tough act to follow with Margarita Drobiazko and Pavlas Vanagas. And as you can see there, a long way off of that sort of standard. But they went out there, I think they skated that probably the best that they could, and that's the important thing. Question mark over the wisdom of wearing a jacket in the compulsory dances, because it's all about getting good lines, and I don't think that helped him at all. And you can see there, the gap between these two quite a lot. His hips are too far back. Nice dance, you've got to skate with your hips underneath you. It's much harder to get the speed, but it creates a much better impression. A bit slow across the ice. And the judge is also looking for the sureness and the security of the edges. And more than a couple of times when they put pressure on the edge and got deep into the ice, the skate was not on a smooth running edge. Nice and crisp on the turns. There is a radius to the bottom of the skate, and when you're doing your turns, you have to, if you're turning from backwards to forwards, you have to roll onto the back of the skate. And from forwards to backwards, you have to roll your weight onto the front of the skate. And it's important not to allow the toe pick to catch as you do the turns.
28th last year. Big quest for these two is to try and qualify for the final stages, the free dance on Friday, the original dance on Thursday. I think it's going to be very tough for them. So automatically qualify for the original dance, all 29 will. 2.7 up to 3.9. Again, quite a wide margin. So where are they going to slot? Fourth. So at the moment they're bottom of the pile and probably will stay that way.
Next couple to skate.
But here's a couple they hope will slot in behind them. From Australia, 25th in the Worlds last year in Washington, Natalie Buck and Trent Nelson Bond. Natalia Dubova watching on all smiles.
Your first sequence. Just work a little more on the extension.
Natalie Buck, Trent Nelson-Bond for Australia. If they are vying with the Lithuanians, I would imagine that they're going to finish a good deal in front of them. Much more polished look about it, even though, as you say, perhaps they could do with a little bit more extension and a little bit more degree of difficulty.
Yeah, I was impressed with that, actually. There's a section, once they've completed the first length of the rink, where down the top end of the rink the skaters have to do a sequence of changes of edge to keep the momentum, and these two did well there. They kept the speed through that section, which is not easy. You really have to get down in the knee and put a lot of pressure on the edge as you change to keep the speed going through the dance. Just some little points at the beginning of the particularly the first sequence where the extension could have been better. No problems there. Lines matching well. If you get down into the ice a little more, you get much more speed on those runs. But these two look to have improved tremendously since last season. See, she's a little bit late in the super slow-mos there. To pick up.
Natalie used to compete in singles events in Australia, 5th in nationals, then teamed up with Trent around 4 years ago. Now been 3 times champion ice dancers back in Oz.
From Australia, the marks for technique. The range of marks is between 3.0 and 4.2.
Quite a wide range, 3.0 up to 4.2 for technical. And for timing, well, originally an but they seem a little bit as confused as the judges as to how good those marks were. They're going to slot in 4th in front of the Lithuanians. I think they've got every chance of making the top 24 this time. So that's the first of 3 groups in this package, compulsory dance B. Remember the A contingent to come. They'll be beginning at around 2 o'clock British time, 3 o'clock local time in Dortmund. And it's CHAIT and Sergei SAKHNOVSKI who lead at the moment.
Couple
Aus der Ukraine.
representing Ukraine, Julia Golovina and
So,
Oleg
from the
Voiko.
Ukraine, their second world. They were 22nd last year in Washington, 15th earlier this month, or last month in Budapest. Julia Golovina and Oleg Voiko.
Definitely a dance where you can't let the nerves get the better of you. Looked a little tight and shaky on the first sequence. Seem to have settled down a bit now.
Yulia Golovina and Oleg Voyko. Oleg, who's 23, will be 24 in a couple of days' time. Yes, it did look very nervy early on, but they did settle down. Very interesting to see where they're being placed here. For me, I thought the couple at the end of the last group, the Australians, were slightly better. But the judges may have another idea. What about you?
Well, it certainly got stronger, there's no doubt about it, this dance. But the first sequence, particularly the first half of the first sequence, was very shaky indeed, and it was a struggle for them to keep the timing right. They kept wandering in and out of time. But they did settle down, and the second sequence, for me, was much stronger than the first. It's an awful feeling when you get out there and your legs feel like jelly, to try and really get those skates to work like they would normally do on a practice session is almost an impossibility. You have to get yourself really focused and into a good frame of mind. You see there, sometimes they wait a little bit too far forwards on the skate when they're skating backwards, and that causes the toe pick to get into the ice and just reduces the amount of flow on the running edge.
Did you have any tricks of the trade to stop yourself getting too nervous?
Just taking your time was the key thing, and working on bringing your heart rate down. That was a trick that I learned and made a big difference to me. And the moment when they call you out to go out and skate, 9 times out of 10 your heart rate goes through the roof, and that's why you see more and more skaters now just really taking as much time as they can before they start the program.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Used to take 15 minutes. That was excessive. Good trick, though.
Yeah, they'd all gone. All the public had got up and gone home by the time I started my program.
It didn't make good telly either.
It never did.
So 3-4 up to 4-3. Could be that the low judges marking low all the time. The trouble with this is not just a country by country take on it, because we don't know which judges judging from which country, but also you don't know which judges are marking low consistently. Very difficult. That's something we hope to have changed.
From Czech Republic, Diana Janostakova and Yuri Pocharka.
So Diana Janostakova and Yuri Prochaska from the Czech Republic, their first World Championships together. Golovina and Voyko finishing 4th of the 6 so far. This, believe it or not, is their first international competition. How about that, starting at Worlds? more like it, and that was a good effort in their first World Championships. Very strange that the Czech Federation have decided to put them in here without any run-up competitions at all. Could have been a disaster. It certainly was far from that. Diana Stakova, Yuri Projaska.
Yes, it really was a creditable effort from these two. They've only been together 6 months. It's nothing at all. Looked a little loose, which is understandable. Kind of just tighten the whole thing up a little bit. But there are a couple that gel together well. I can understand why they've been put together. Just a little slow on the second half of the sequence, and unfortunately for them, that's the part that's right in front of the judging panel. So need to work on that, and as I said, it is a difficult dance to keep the momentum on. Sometimes on the side-by-side positions as well, she tends to get a little too far ahead, which makes it look uncomfortable, and that again makes it very difficult to keep the speed going. All those things they can work on over the coming season, and you can be sure you'll see a much higher standard from these two next season.
I remember her, Natalia Vorobyeva, former single skater for the Soviet Union as was. They look pretty happy. World Championships are underway.
The mark, please, for technique. The range of mark is between...
And obviously Natalia Vorobyeva will told them roughly what to expect. Those are not shabby. 3.3 up to 4.2. For timing and expression. Just a little bit higher.
Thank you.
Not bad. Remember, it's very early on in the competition, so they're going to rank at the moment 6 of the 7 we've had.
Next
couple. Representing...
Now a couple from Azerbaijan who've made strong strides in recent years. This their 4th World Championships, 13th last year in the Worlds in Washington. Standard will raise dramatically here. Christine Fraser, Igor Lukanin from Azerbaijan. Couple who've made their home in the USA. Training there with Genrik Stratensky. from a disparate background. Kristin, born in Palo Alto in California, but has made her home in Baku. And that's where she and Igor met up, but now back in the States, training at Maryland with Genrikh Stratensky. Igor married to the 1999 World Junior Champion, Daria Timoshenko.
These two are certainly a very elegant couple. She really does have great lines, but for me it's ruined a little bit by the fact that when she skates she leads with the top half of the body. It's almost as if she's pushing with the shoulders rather than the hips. You just get her hips underneath her a little bit more. You find that you get more energy out of the skate. And even there you can see trying to get the extension, the hips go back and the top half of the body tilts forwards. Just means that their lines don't quite match. And it gives the illusion or the look of them being an awful long way apart at certain times through the dance.
Well, the top 10 place is their goal here.
Target for that, we're going to have to finish in around 5th in this qualification group, which I think might be mighty tough for them going on that performance, but we'll see. A lot of expression.
As we said earlier, the groups have been seeded, so they should be around equal. Of course, it doesn't always totally work out that way. This group perhaps slightly stronger. The final group, for example, in this particular section, compulsory dance group B, we've got Faella Scali from Italy, Delobel, Schoenfelder from France, and NAVKA Kostomarov from Russia, three who feature very highly. So 4-0 up to 5-0. Now where they're going to feature should be second. No, 4th. That's disappointing for them. Behind the Americans and behind the Russians, and of course behind the Israelis. Not good. Now then, listen to that. Germany's chances of a medal. The last competition where you'll get a perfect 6.
Deutschland.
Representing Germany.
Had one last night from Tatiana Marinin, but from next year we firmly expect the new code of points to be brought into play. WINKLER and LOHSE for Germany. Excellent. Well, the biggest roar so far, not surprising. Was it the best routine so far? Remember, it's the Israelis who lead, Galit Chait and Sergei SAKHNOVSKI. And to be honest, if Kati and Rene have got real hopes of getting a medal here, they need to be in first place at the moment, because NAVKA, KOSTOMAROV to come, the Bulgarians in the other group, several other likely couples still to take to the ice. This is the one that matters here, really. Second would be okay, first would be great.
Well, difficult one to call, I thought, on the first sequence on the layback, or the layover at the end of the sequence, where Kati lies down and he has to stand on a right outside edge. Just a little bit of a wobble there, looks a little weak, and that could be the injury taking its toll. He didn't look as strong as he would do normally, but that's understandable. Having said that, I thought they skated it well. A lot of feeling. They captured the emotion of the blues, made it look effortless while they were out there.
There's a whole heavy weight of expectation on them, and you wouldn't have known it. Didn't seem to be a flicker of doubt. There's Martin Skotnicki, living every beat of the music with them.
Whereas with the Israelis, I didn't feel that this choice of music or this compulsory dance really suited their style of skating. I think for these two, it's a great choice. So the draw's lucky for them.
Skotnicki, of course, famously took the Duchenes to their gold medal here in Germany, in Munich, back in 1991. Now, are they going to be in first place? Not bad. 5.2 up to 5.5.
Second set need to be good. And look at that, they are good.
Well, it's obviously very crucial which 3 marks get knocked out there, which 7 remain to count. It looks good, yes. 6 out of 7 had them in first place. Bad news for the Israelis. WINKLER and LOHSE top of the pile right now.
Next Paar.
Next couple.
Well, they've come again in their hordes from Canada. They are remarkable wherever the World Championships take place, whether it's in Japan or in Europe, wherever around the world. Massive contingent, and here they are supporting José Pichet and Pascal Denis, their first World Championships. José 29, Pascal 28. They've had to wait and bide their time, but here they are, one of 3 Canadian couples to make it through to Worlds. Yes, it looked classy.
Josie Pichy and Pascal Denis.
Canada, of course, with rich history and rich recent history in this event with Shailin and Victor Kratz. So a heady path for these to follow. But I like that. There's a lot of Shailin in Jose here. And like Shailin, she seems to thrive on the big occasion and certainly seems to play to the cameras well.
Yes, I thought actually she skated this very, very well indeed. She's got lovely soft knee bend, and that really is so important to get the strength into the edges. See her really working the skates and always getting right down in the knee. He, on the other hand, I thought the upper half of his body was a little bit too stiff. Didn't let it go at all. Worked hard with the head and had some nice eye contact. Just in places a little too upright. Bit of a toe push there, picked up by the super slow-mo. Anything like that won't go down well with the judges. Important always to use the edges to gain your momentum, not the toe rake. Of course, the job in ice dance is to sell the woman, and he did that well.
Not a difficult sell.
Absolutely not. She looks great out there. Fantastic, because there must be some nerves, but you couldn't tell. She looks very at ease.
Now then, first time in Worlds. They were 7th in the 4 continents competition. They've done a number of other tournaments around the world, but not the top tier. So no real way of knowing where they're going to slot. 3, 4 up to 4-2. It's sort of mid-division stuff, this. And around the same, just a fraction better for timing and expression. So we've had 10. 7th for Pichet and Denis. The weakest of the groups so far, the strongest in this first section. Still to come with Fiala, Scali, DELOBEL, Schoenfelder and NAVKA, Kostomarov. But that's the story at the moment. Winkler and LOHSE lead for Germany. CHAIT Sergei Sakhnowsky in 2nd place for Israel. And in 3rd place, it's the Russians, Oksana Domnina and Maxim Shabalin. So those lower down, but it's great news for Germany that Winkler and LOHSE are in the lead. Well, we're back with the action now because on the ice are the Italians, and important Italians they are too. Federica Fiala, Massimo Scali, they've just begun, 11th in the Worlds last year, 6th in Budapest.
A very promising couple indeed, and they've started this compulsory dance well.
Yes, they really did gel well and make the most of the routine. Suddenly the blues coming alive a little bit there for Federica and Massimo. Changed coaches just a few weeks ago. Joan Slater, who looks after the British couple, Sinead and John Kerr, she's been looking after them. They prepared for the Worlds in Berlin. Looks like it's a temporary arrangement for now with Joan, but I think she'll be very pleased with that one.
She certainly will. Yeah, Joan has been working with them, certainly on the compulsory dances over the last couple of seasons, on and off with their old coach, Walter Rizzo. And these two have made the change since the European Championships. They did Europeans with Walter, but now Joan has been looking after them here, and they have been to Berlin working with Hendrik Schamberger as well, leading up to the World Championships. But with all the changes and all the things going on around them, they've skated that compulsory dance very well. Not an ideal situation to be changing coaches just before a World Championships.
No. For once they're timing way out. Well, they made a big jump over the last 2 years to get up to 6th in the Europeans in Budapest. Let's see if they've carried that kind of momentum through to Worlds.
Ladies and gentlemen, the marks for Federica Paella from Italy, the marks for technique.
There's Joan, looking happy enough. Yes, it's been a somewhat tempestuous time. We can't give you the full details behind that, but I can tell you that there's been a lot behind the scenes going on. 4.5 up to 5.4 for timing and expression. So, where are they going to be? Around third? Yes, third it is. And they'll be happy enough with that behind the Germans and the Israelis. Now, here are the French couple. French national champions for the last 2 years. And of course, they have a rich history. France with the Duchesnes and also with Anasina and Pezzera. 9th last year in the Worlds, but they moved up to 4th in Budapest in Europeans. So a lot of big things are hoped for Isabelle Delobel and Olivier Schoenfelder. Both from Lyon, which is where they train.
That is a beautiful first sequence to this Midnight Blues. He really is immensely strong. Just again, I have a question mark over the jacket. For me, it detracts from the lines.
Yeah, that's a very good challenge from Isabelle DELOBEL and Olivier Schoenfelder. And what a remarkable leap they had last month in Budapest. Let's see if this set of judges is going to go with it.
Well, for me, Simon, I enjoyed that the most so far. I thought it was very elegant, very powerful, and beautifully skating. Beautifully skated. His basic skating technique is very, very good indeed. He's tall and incredibly strong.
One of the emails in asks us if you ever get bored watching the compulsory dances. Well, I have to say it's my least favourite discipline of them all, because obviously it is a little samey, so I rely on Chris and listen to Chris for the nuances of the various dances and dancers. And how could I get bored alongside Chris?
Thank you for those kind words, Simon. Doesn't happen very often. We had an email in from Mimi in Hungary saying that earlier I said that there was controversy over the choice of this dance because some of the judges feeling that it's difficult to distinguish between the different skaters. And she's saying that it looks a fairly difficult dance to execute to her, and she's dead right. The thing is, it's an easy dance to do, but a difficult dance to do well. So you'll see a big difference in the top couples. But the couples that are ranked around the middle of the competition, it's very difficult for the judges there to make the selection.
The marks, please, for Isabelle DELOBEL, Olivier Schoenfelder from France.
Be interesting. I hope the judges go with this. I enjoyed it.
Saw a shot earlier on of Gwendal Pesara, world champion in 2000. He's been part of the choreography team here. But there on the left is Muriel Boucher-Zazui. He's been with Isabelle and Olivier from the start. 5-0 up to 5.4 now. Where's this going to slot? 5-2 to 5-6, that's good. It's going to be third or fourth, something like that. They seem pretty happy with it, quietly content. No, it's second. In front of the Israelis. So the Israelis are being ditched here unceremoniously, down to third. And here are the leaders, well, the favourites, and the couple who we think will be leading at the end of this particular group. World favourites, never got on the podium before, European champions last month, Tatiana, NAVKA, Roman KOSTOMAROV for Russia. Yes, it looked very good indeed. Remember their chief rivals, Albena DENKOVA and Maxim STAVISKI from Bulgaria, are in the other section, which starts in around half an hour's time. But no doubt in my mind that these two will be leading the pack in this Group B at the end of this section. Remember, they slotted in just behind them in Worlds last year, finished just outside of the podium place, which was desperately disappointing. But it looks to have changed round this year.
Well, that was real class. Really, really enjoyed it. Roman there, I'm not sure if he's 100%. It didn't show during the performance. You're supposed to be able to take a photograph and a still image, and they should be matching at any time throughout the dance, and I think you pretty much anywhere throughout that 1 minute and 38 seconds you could have taken a shot, and the lines would be, well, as near to perfect as you could get.
They got a bit of criticism that last year's routines, obviously not the compulsory bit, the original and free dance, were not as demanding technically as they might have been. They've taken that on board. Be really fascinating to see what they produce. But it was very well rewarded at Europeans. There's Alexander, Tatiana's husband and coach of the two of them.
That must be tough on a bad day. Not that these two have too many bad days, I would imagine.
No. Certainly none that show, but you never know behind the scenes. Some figure skaters can be temperamental, Chris.
Well, they certainly can. I was never like that.
No.
Some commentators too.
5.4 up to 5.8. Look at the marks. Jet has really gone with that. And the timing expression up to 5.9. So they are comfortably the leaders. Winkler and LOHSE have had their day in the sun, but they'll be very happy with the second place they have at the moment. But it's NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV who lead.
Nächstes Paar
Next couple to skate,
aus Russland.
representing
Now, from Russia,
Vitaly Novikov.
third in Russian nationals, 23-year-old Svetlana Kulikova and 25-year-old Vitaly Novikov. Their first Worlds, they went to Europeans and got in the top 10, finished 8th. Here's their Midnight Blues. third of the Russian couples make their start to their challenge at the Worlds 2004. Svetlana Kulikova, Vitaly Novikov. Again, they have immense credentials behind them with their coaching team. Tarasova, Usova, Platov. Don't get better names than that. It's only Howarth missing.
Good job too, I would imagine. Well, again, it's amazing when you look at these two and think that they have been together for less than a year. And a couple that really gel right from the off. Won their first competition, they entered the Nebelhorn Trophy, so they will have skated this dancing competition. Not many of the competitors in the World Championships here will have performed this dancing competition. Just thought he looked a little tight, certainly on the first sequence. Don't know if he was a little nervous, but a little tight in the knee. And she sells the dance so well, just could do with a little bit more character from him. You'd like to be paying there, Bill, would you?
No, couldn't.
Yeah, a little bit of, looks as though he's concentrating.
With that coaching team behind them, the Russians are obviously going to make a big push for these two to be on the podium in years to come. Usova, Platov, and also Tarasova, not in vision this time. Better marks for timing expression. Perhaps they're a little subdued in their reaction to it. They're going to slot in ninth. No, that's not, I would think, where they fancied it. They're not going to get in the top 10 with those marks. Nowhere near.
Letztes Paar dieses Wettbewerbs
Last couple to skate.
aus Japan.
Representing Japan.
So last to go in this group.
Nozomi Watanabe, Akiyuki Kido.
It's backstage with NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV, the leaders at the moment. And they look pretty happy, don't they? And they can relax now and watch the other section. We're going to watch Watanabe and Akiyuko Kido from Japan. 20th in the Worlds last year, 5th in the 4 continents. Nozomi Watanabe and Akiyuko Kido from Japan. They've been knocking on the door for a number of years now, but finally won Japan Nationals late last year after 7 years of trying. Their reward, a place here, the only Japanese contingent. Japan never really done particularly well in either pairs or dance, but obviously have done very well in women's and to a lesser extent men's figure skating.
Well, I really enjoy watching these two skate. Technically, it's not as good as some of the top couples, but they have a lovely style, lovely presentation, and very, very soft across the ice. The last couple of steps from Akiyuko, a little bit of a struggle, tends to toe push on the runs, which is not good.
Italian Linishuk, who with Gennady Karponosov won Olympic and world gold medals, but not here in Dortmund in 1980. When the Worlds were last year, they were beaten at the post with Natalia and Gennady by Cristina Rizozzi and Andras Sale. Quite a surprise. So 20th last year. Be looking for a place if they can inside that, so 10th or better will do them.
They look to have improved to me dramatically this season. They got much stronger. Difficult dance for them to perform though, I think.
Mark's not strong. 3.5 up to 4.4. And a big range there. Depends a lot which judges get knocked out there on how they will do. You can see 8th up to 14th. They do get 10th, so it's okay. They're nodding their heads. No great improvement. Of course, they have to look reasonably pleased. It's no good being looking too displeased with the judges with 2 disciplines still to go. So that's it for the B group, and it's NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV who lead. Kati, WINKLER and Rene LOHSE. Terrific for them in 2nd place, and terrific too for DELOBEL and SCHOENFELDER for France. They move into 3rd place at the moment, and we'll be talking to them in just a couple of minutes. Very disappointed. You have to feel for Galit CHAIT and Sergei SAKHNOVSKI. Not a dance that they'd have relished, and the judges have not been kind to them and have taken them down to 4th place, and then lower down on the rest of the couples in this B group. Well, there's going to be an ice resurface now before we start, just around the top of the hour. 1 o'clock British time, 2 o'clock local time with the A group. But now we're going to the Worlds last year. Tanith BELBIN and Benjamin Agosto taking their time. Taking this competition on their terms.
Well, that was a superb first sequence. love the lines and extension.
Tanith, BELBIN, Benjamin, Agosto. It's an amazing fact that the USA have never won gold in ice dance. Right back in the 50s. Tanith, originally a Canadian ice dancer who started to skate pairs because a coach thought it would make her stronger. And eventually moved to Detroit. That was some start. There's coach Igor Spilband, was the junior ice dance champion back in '83 with Tatiana Gladkova.
Well, I thought they skated this very well indeed. There were elements there that were probably the best that we've seen so far, particularly the layback, the extension there on the early steps, the first corner of the dance. Look at that extension.
And she did the best slow-mo before she started of any of the competitors.
Well, it really was a fantastic way to start this second group. Straight away the standard right up there with the very best that we've seen so far. Thought the speed across the ice looked good. The knee bend beautiful. She really is tremendous. She doesn't need any selling, does she?
Nope. Well, it was a dramatic rise last year from 13th to 7th. Can they continue that momentum? If they can, it's going to be the podium or thereabouts.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mark is for Tanith, BELBIN and Benjamin Agosto, USA. The mark please for technique.
My first thoughts are lucky guy, but let's see what the judges think. It's slightly more important. And they're not bad, are they? First up, very difficult for the judges. Remember, this is a completely new competition, so this is the first couple, and they have to be very careful, and they've given them good marks. They are unlucky to be drawn first. How unlucky, we'll see. We'll have a good idea right here. Here are the couple who won bronze in Budapest.
Elena, GRUSHINA and Ruslan, GONCHAROV.
Been skating together since '97, married to each other since '95. Elena GRUSHINA and Ruslan GONCHAROV. Couple still to come, Barbara Herzog and Dmitry Machuk. All eyes now on GRUSHINA and GONCHAROV. Commanding start to their campaign. No worries at all there for GRUSHINA and Goncharov. They've had a consistent year, 4th in the Grand Prix final in Colorado Springs, 3rd in Europeans. They'll be optimistic here, hopefully knocking at the door of a podium place at Worlds.
Well, I was a little disappointed with that, got to be honest. It seemed tame to me. Didn't look as though they really attacked the dance. Certainly Ruslan there didn't look comfortable at all. And these two are a bit like the Israeli couple, CHAIT and SAKHNOVSKI. I feel that their dance really doesn't suit their style of skating. And they look like a fish out of water in places. Tame right up until the end, and then, to me, the end with the lift didn't have anything to do with the blues. So it'd be really interesting to see what the judges do with these two compared to the Americans. I much preferred the Americans. Some good extension, and she has wonderful expression. So much experience from these two. It's their 7th World Championships.
They're married for 9 years now, but still have that special chemistry on the ice. And probably off it too. 0 up to 5-6. Well, it's going to be very close with the Americans. Very close. Ah, those are better. Timing expression marks consistently, apart from the first judge. 5-5 out to 5.7. That will take them into the lead in this group. 6 out of 7 of the judges who count have them the leaders at the moment. Now from Japan, the 3 times national champions of Japan in their first World Championships, Yang Fang and Gao Chongbo. Yang Fang and Gao Chongbo. China still to make any kind of impression at the top level in World Championships. They'd never been on the podium, they'd never been close in ice dance. Pairs has been obviously a very different kettle of fish, as has women's and men's skating, although in pairs they took a big setback yesterday.
They certainly did, but these two have come out here with a vengeance. First time we've seen them in a World Championships. But I was impressed with that, and looking at it, you just have to wonder how long it will be before the Chinese are up there in all four aspects of this sport. They've risen tremendously in the ice dance. I think it takes longer probably because of the culture and getting the feel and the technique of these compulsory dances.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Japan, for example, have made a big impression in both men's and ladies, but not in pairs or in dance. They just haven't seemed to make the advance. They started earlier, but just haven't advanced. Maybe it's just not in the culture. That they take, the system takes them to be individual skaters and not dancers or pairs.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with culture. And of course, the men are short in Japan, so that doesn't help.
Yes. Where are you from?
Not all of them. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was waiting for that. I'll keep feeding them to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the marks please for Fang Yang and Zhongbo Gao representing China. Marks please for technique. The range of marks is between
DUBREUIL alongside, so there's no shortage of class input to their routines. They don't mind spending the cash.
3-4 and 4-6.
Up to 4-6 for timing and expression. Not such a bad mark at all, but of course the two we've had already, significant performers, so they slot in third at the moment and last, but can't imagine they're going to be last at the end of the day.
The next couple
aus Kanada.
Now,
representing Canada, Marie-France DUBREUIL and
10th last year in the world, second in the four continents competition. They've had a good year. Will it be rewarded right now? Here with their midnight blues, Marie-France DUBREUIL and Patrice LOUZON. Well, it looks smooth enough, and I particularly enjoyed the end. Lovely, innovative finish to that, but I couldn't help thinking during the routine how far apart they were as they were moving around.
Yeah, well spotted, Simon. They certainly in 3 or 4 places on each sequence. They drifted a long, long way apart. And of course, the dance is easier when you do that. It's much harder to get the speed and keep the momentum when you're really close together. But they skated it well. I thought this dance was a good choice for them, good selection, because it does suit their style. They're very soft. They get into the ice beautifully. And the blues is a nice tempo, nice rhythm for them. They look relaxed.
Marie-France was World Junior bronze medalist back in 1990, would you believe it, with Bruno Ivar. But moved to France to train with Boucher Zazoui after they teamed up with Patrice Lauzon back in 1995. A great part of the world to train. Magical city. Yeah, I like that move there.
And it really did look smooth, even looking at those slow motion shots again. Right to the bitter end. Beautiful expression, lovely extension.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Just love the softness of it. It's been a very high standard in this first group.
Marks please for technique. The range of marks
5-1 to 5-4. The 3 of those judges' marks will disappear and not count, but they're pretty much of one accord. 5-2 to 5-6. Not bad. 10th last year, so looking for a top 5 place, and they're up to 2nd in front of the Americans. A bit of a surprise, that.
Yeah, I think that is a bit of a turn up for the books. Tanith and Benjamin will be very disappointed with that, but the Canadians, they're delighted.
4 Minuten Einlaufzeit für die Gruppe 2.
There's confirmation of that. Grushina and Goncharov lead, no surprise there. Yes, the Armenians to begin. In their second Worlds, they were 24th last year, just made the cut for the free. There'll be no cut after the compulsories, only after the original dance. Anastasia Grabankina and Vazgen Azerjan from Armenia. Couple who did skate together from 96 to 98, then they went their separate ways with different partners, but now back together again for the last couple of years. Anastasia Grebenkina and Vazyan Azrajan from Armenia, leading off this second group. Now, have they done themselves a power of good in their bid to qualify for the top 24? The standard around that cut is pretty high.
Well, I think already we're seeing the standard in this group is very high. This was a bit of a surprise for me. I thought they skated it very well. Just the last few steps of the last sequence, he looked a little uncomfortable. Lost a little bit of a speed and a bit of a stutter coming out of the layback. But apart from that, I thought they were very, very good indeed. A little slower across the ice than the top couples. Extension not quite as good. Not quite into the ice as much, but a lot to admire. They really skated as one, and that's important. Look relaxed. Alexei Gorshkov looking on, stern face. He must have a few nerves in his body, because he'll be, once he's finished with these two, he'll have to go backstage and prepare DENKOVA and STAVISKI for their challenge. But this was good. I don't think they could have skated it much better. He seems to have really improved over the last couple of seasons.
Ladies and gentlemen, the marks please for Anastasia Grebenkina Vaskin-Asurayan from Armenia. The marks for technique.
Of course, they benefit from training alongside DENKOVA and STAVISKI, and that's a big help. Let's make you raise your game.
Yes, they skate in Russia, in Odintsovo, with Gorshkov. Looking on. 3.7 up to 4.8 for expression and timing, and quite a wide disparity there. Fourth place then for them of the 5 that we've had so far. Next to go from Poland, Alexandra Couch and Mikhail Zich of Poland, 14th in Europeans. Canadians wing and low to come in the final group. Alexander Couch, Michael Szyc for Poland. Not a bad performance in their first World Championships. A lot from Poland have made the trip here, and you can hear them. Certainly an email in from Michael saying with 2 competitions for the compulsory dance, how the winners actually selected. Are there going to be 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s? Exactly right. There will be. The tariff is the same. It's 0.2, isn't it? 0.2 for this, 0.3 for the original dance, and 0.5 for the free dance.
Yes, well, it'll all sort itself out after the original. There still may be a couple of ties in there with the varying of places. But I think it's a good idea doing this. It does help with the judging, making smaller groups. These two carrying the mantle after the retirement of Novak and Kolozinski. And they've done themselves proud out here. A little weak. Got a lot of work to do and an awful lot to learn, but did it in the Europeans for the first time and gained a lot of experience there, and that's the name of the game.
Yes, last Polish national champions this year. And, their reward is a place in their first Worlds. 3-4 to 4-7. A big margin there for technical. And for timing and instruction, even more. 3-3 up to 4.8. So it very much depends on which judges stay and which go. 5th of the 6 that we've had so far in this second competition. Now to the brother and sister from Scotland. First Worlds for them. Our thoughts are with them. 10th in Budapest, did themselves proud. Now with secure financial backing from Sport Scotland. All the best to Sinead and John Kerr. Well, a novel ending and a very positive start from Sinead and John in their first Worlds. If they were nervous, there wasn't any evidence of that in their moves out on the ice.
Yeah, it's great to see that amount of support for them here in Dortmund as well. Well, you can breathe a sigh of relief, guys, because that's probably the weakest part of the competition over for them. It will get better and better, and that wasn't bad.
James Slater working them off the ice. Let's see how it stands up in the super slow-mo.
Well, I thought they skated it very well. Some of the British Championships, they at last won the title. And their compulsories seem to have got better and better as the season's gone on.
Isn't that good to see? The support as strong as that. It's been a while since we had a couple who look as promising as this. Britain, of course, with such a rich tradition in ice dance. 17 times Britain have won the gold medal. Of course, with Torvill and Dean, but by no means the first.
Hi, everyone back home. I'm not naming anybody today.
So 3.9 to 4.8 for technical. And for timing and expression, yeah, a little bit better. Up to 5. Where are they going to slot? So the 7th to go, and it's 4th. Very difficult to judge at this moment in time where that's likely to put them. But somewhere around mid-table, you would imagine. 7th in their group, maybe 14th overall, something like that, 14th, 15th.
I think when you look at the calibre and the skaters that have gone, that's about the right placing for them at this stage.
Now for the third French couple. From Lyon as well, with Muriel Boucher-Zazoui. Nathalie Péchelat, Fabienne Boza, their first Worlds. First major competition. Nathalie Péchelat, Fabienne Boza from France. France who've won the world title twice. Amsina and Pesara in Nice in the year 2000, and then the Duchenes back in Germany, in Munich in 1991. But there will not be a French gold medal this time, that's for sure.
I don't think it'll be long though before the French are on the podium in ice dance. I think Isabelle DELOBEL and Olivier Schoenfelder, who skated in the last group of the Dance B group, I think they're really promising and have got stronger and stronger over the last couple of seasons. But these two, a good effort. Hard to imagine that this is the first World Championships for them as well. They're very strong, good speed across the ice. Look at that, going through every single step. I thought they looked good. Number 3 in France.
Yes, that really is strength and depth.
That makes such a difference when you've got to work hard to earn your place. It really does help you raise the game.
Yeah, it's the same in any sport, isn't it? Domestic rivalry, very healthy in every aspect. So 3.7 to 4.9. These are very similar marks that Sinead and John got.
Yeah, it's going to be so important as to which ones are selected.
They look to be slightly better. 5th place for them. No, they slot in behind Sinead and John. It's good news for the Brits. Not such good news for the French. Now then, the favourites for this compulsory dance group A. Bronze medalist last year, and with a little bit of a thorn in their side after NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV took gold in Budapest. Albena DENKOVA, Maxim STAVISKI for Bulgaria. Yeah, really well sold. It wasn't flawless, but it looks to be the best so far in this particular group. Albena DENKOVA, Maxim STAVISKI. Great chance for them to win gold here the best chance they've ever had. Can they take it?
I would definitely have that in first place in this group. Of course, at the end of the day, you're comparing these two to NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV, and we'll be able to do that when we get to the original dance section. But I think they're going to end up eventual winners of Group A here.
That's not good enough, Chris. They're going to have to work you harder than that. What about comparing it with NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV?
Well, for me, it's subjective, isn't it? I think that NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV have just got the edge. Having said that, these two, I prefer the program of these two, but I prefer the look of NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV. So at the end of the day, it's going to be very much on the performance, and it could even be how the crowd reacts. But look at the lines here in the super slow-mo, it's fantastic.
Does sitting on the fence as strongly as that hurt?
Thank you very much. No, I think it's genuine. I think it's going to be an exciting competition. It's almost it's a difficult one to call.
All right, all right.
If you want me to get off the fence, then I'd have to go with the Russian.
Thank you. I just didn't hear you. But there's no doubt they're going to be leading here. Very good. 5.4 up to 5.8. They are very strong marks. Remember, I think NAVKA KOSTOMAROV got a 5.9 and there's a 5.9 there. So the judges really can't split between them. But the important thing, as far as they're concerned, is that DENKOVA and STAVISKI have 6 out of 7, top of the pile, which is, I think, exactly what NAVKA KOSTOMAROV had. So they're very happy. Job well done, and they lead. There is a group still to go. We don't really anticipate that those marks are going to be threatened, in all honesty. So they will be joint leaders going into the original dance on Thursday. There's confirmation. DENKOVA and STAVISKI lead the group. GRUSHINA, GONCHAROV in second place. The Canadians perhaps a little lucky in third to edge out the Americans, who we thought were very, very good indeed. Sinead and John in 5th place, so we'll see how much further they'll drop, maybe drop a couple of places. And Yang and Gao at the bottom of the pack at the moment. But now, in their first World Championships, 17th they were in Budapest in the Europeans, 3 times the ice dance champions of Austria. 18-year-old Barbara Herzog, 22-year-old Dmitry Matsyuk. Barbara Herzog, Dmitry Matsyuk from Austria. Rather uncertain look between the two of them when they finished, as if they weren't too happy with what they achieved.
Well, it looked to me as though Barbara was really pleased that was over. She looked very, very nervous right from the off. A couple of moments where she put the free foot down a little early on some of the steps, and there was a real feeling of insecurity through it. Even Dmitry on the layback struggled to keep his free leg still as she let her weight go down. It's a difficult move, and it really does show if you're not secure and you don't have your weight over the skate. But they gave it the best shot.
She looked rather nervously across at her coach, Jana Hubler, as if there might be some words of admonishment, but not now, not publicly. And maybe when they get down to the original dance, once it's underway, they'll be able to ease up.
Well, I hope they settle down. It is a nerve-wracking experience, and it's a testing dance because there's so many long edges in here, and it's difficult, as I've said before, to get any speed. Certain points in the dance where you have to gain your motivation and momentum.
Ladies and gentlemen, the marks.
So the marks coming up, and they're not going to be that high.
From Austria. Mark please for technique.
There's no doubt when you compare the two groups, it really does seem to me that this group is much, much tougher than the previous one.
Mark please for timing and expression. The range of marks.
So the range of marks again, way high. Look at the first judge and the last judge.
Well, how you can give that 4-7, I really don't know.
You sense the judge might have come from Austria. Just checking if there's an Austrian judge in this. No, there's not.
Representing Canada.
So now, representing Canada, their second Worlds. They were 12th last year, so no doubt a top 10 place is the order here. Suddenly thrust into the spotlight after the retirement of Born and Kratz. Megan Wing, Aaron Lowe. Megan Wing, Aaron Lowe.
Megan Wing.
Third place in Canadian Nationals. The couple who finished in second place then, Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon, lying in third place right now in these World Championships in this group. Split up into two groups to confirm, but that's the standard. Top 10 place is what they're hoping for.
Well, they may well do it. I thought they skated well, no major errors in there. It was a very smooth dance, and the blues really does suit the Canadian style. Canadians always very good in the knees, able to get into the ice. Look at that. Really soft, no bounce.
Now on form, these two should slot in fifth place. At the moment, that's held by Sinead Kerr and John. But I can't imagine these two would be above the Americans, although the Americans haven't been marked too well.
I think the Americans have been very unlucky, to be honest. They were first to go in the competition, which didn't help them. So I think it would be a fair placing to put these two in behind the Americans and ahead of the Brits. Looks to me as though he models himself on Gallate shape.
Well, there are worse people to model yourself on. Who do you model yourself on, Chris?
Well, it's certainly not you, that's for sure.
Just wondering.
Representing Canada, the mark for technique.
It was Bart Simpson.
The range of mark is between 4.7 and 5.1.
4.7 up to 5.1 for technical. And for timing
marks.
The range of mark,
yeah, not good, are they?
4.9 and 5.2.
Now, where's that going to put them? Fifth, we think. Fifth it is. So the Brits drop to 6 at the moment.
Next couple of Finland.
Representing Finland.
3 to go.
Jessica Howarth.
And now from Finland, in their third Worlds, they moved up from 26 in Nagano to 21st last year. They want to continue that development. Jessica Howarth and Juha Valkama, 3 times national champions of Finland. Jessica Hjort and Juha Valkama from Finland. We move to the end of this competition, just 2 more to go. And for those of you wondering, perhaps it's a long wait for these couples coming at the end. Not necessarily so. Some of them wouldn't have arrived at the rink until the competition proper had started. You know, obviously, what time you're going to skate, and you judge your appearance at the rink and your training and your meals accordingly.
That's right, the preparation and organisation for a championships is quite extensive, and they will have the whole day mapped out. It was a good effort from these two. Obviously not the technical ability to rival some of the top teams, but a lot to admire. Again, from him we could do with a little bit more character, a bit more personality. She really tried to sell the dance the best she could. Just a little weak in places.
Yeah, she was way up there with her facial expressions, but it doesn't really work as much, does it, if you're not getting the same thing back?
Of course, it's important for the guy to really sell the girl. If he's not doing his job properly, she can work as hard as she likes and it doesn't come across. See the boots really taped up to give extra support. A bit of a wobble there. The judge is really looking for the security and the strength of the edges. Not just doing the steps, it's how you do them.
Jessica originally from Holyoke in Massachusetts, but moved to Finland to skate with Juha. Dimitri Kazaliga, coach and choreographer. The routines you're going to see later on. Yes, again, quite a range of marks. So where they're going to slot 12th. Not good news. In fact, they're bottom of the group. And in all honesty, that's where they're going to finish. So they will struggle to qualify for the free dance. They have to do a lot better in the original on Thursday. Now for Hungary. In their second worlds, Nora Hoffman and Attila Elek. '18th last year in Washington. Fantastic Hungarian tradition, which had its emblem in Dortmund. Right here, 24 years ago, when the gold medal was won by Christina Ragozzi and Andra Salo. And that is some act to follow. Nora Hoffman and Attila Elek from Hungary. And just looking at Nora, which isn't difficult to do, she has a lot of that charm, the demure charm of Christina Ragozzi, who won gold here back in 1980. Whether she has the success remains to be seen, although these two did get silver medals in the last two World Junior Championships, so they've been marked out as a couple who will succeed at some level.
Yeah, they were bitterly disappointed, particularly her, with the silver this year. It was a really close run thing in The Hague, but it was silver again, and they put that behind them and come out here and put down a very, very good Midnight Blues. I just think technically she is such a talent. Really, really good dancer, and he's going to have to really raise his game to keep up.
Technically, she's such a talent. He's gone quiet.
I'm just trying to be careful with my words here, but yes, technically she is talented.
Sandor Nagy, the trainer. These two train in Budapest, home of the Europeans this year. And of course it is interesting where they're going to finish, because it could have a major impact on the final placing for Sinead and John Kerr. I'm in 6th place at the moment.
I think in all honesty this will finish ahead of the Brits, but hopefully John and Sinead can get that place back later on in the competition.
The range of mark is between 4 and 5-2. The mark is for timing and expression. The range of marks between 4
Much all over the place, much more consistent for timing and expression. It's going to be good enough to take them above the Brits. Will it be good enough to take them into 5th place? No. 6th it is, behind the Canadians. I'm a little surprised with that. But the Brits dropped to 7th now, with one couple still to go.
Aus Israel,
representing Israel, Natalia Gudina and Alexei Beletsky.
Can't be easy for any sportsman or sportswoman to represent Israel at the moment. Must be a constant worry. Natalia Gudina, Alexei Beletsky, 14th in the worlds last year, 9th in Budapest this year. Finished just above the Brits. Well, they look focused enough. I have to say, I spent a lot of the time seeing how far apart they were, again, in the middle of that routine, but considering everything, good performance. 25th they were in the Worlds when they first arrived in 2001, up to 14th last year. And strong support for them here in Dortmund.
Yes, they have a lot of experience, and I think they're going to need it, because I think that may well end up behind John and Sinead. Could even be behind the French as well. I thought it was quite weak. Not really very quick across the ice. Often the lines not matching, the extension not really good. Didn't really get a good position on the layback. Just really didn't seem to have the weight over the skate, particularly Natalia. Not all the time. Just looked a bit of a struggle to me. Interesting to know what they think about it.
Yes, poker face does over. Shinadi and Natalia.
I'm pretty sure they can skate that better. I don't know if it was nerves or you can see the layback or layover at the end of the dance. And he hardly let the weight go forwards at all there.
The mark please for technique.
So here's the moment of truth. So all right, I think they're slightly better than the Brits.
They are. I'm surprised.
6 up to 5-1, and
wow, they are good.
Yeah. John Sinead didn't get a 5-0 on technical. They did for timing and expression, but that's going to be good enough. Yes, they slot in 6th place and pushed John and Sinead down to 7th. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. Albena, DENKOVA and Maxim Stavisky, sure enough, will win this group. NAVKA and KOSTOMAROV winning the Group B. GRUSHINA, GONCHAROV in 2nd place. Marie-France DUBREUIL and Patrice LAUZON in 3rd. Then the Americans. Perhaps a little unlucky not to be in 3rd place, but maybe they can put that right. And the Brits down to 8th place, in fact. Sinead and John. So if you double that, 15th or 16th, and hopefully, as Chris says, they'll be able to move up a place, or maybe even 2.
Yeah, they really do stand a chance of pulling some of that back. They've got a fabulous OD, and the free dance is exceptional.
So that's it. Hope you've enjoyed it. But that's the end of the compulsory dances for 2004.